Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello. How's everyone? How's everybody? Hi, yeah, so it's working. Cool, yeah, I just learned how to do something new here. All right, okay, let me just check one thing here. All right, cool. All right, so, oh, oops, no, I don't want to end. Cancel. All right, cool. All right, how are you all today? Okay, I'd just like to say to you once again, okay, welcome to 7 in Writing with Fabi. Okie dokie. And here we discuss strategies that will help you get the 7 in the writing part of the IELTS test. Okay, so I forgot my microphone. Very important. I was just working on it. All right, cool. Okay, so that's what we're gonna talk about today. Prepositions. Okay, my name is Fabi. Oh, hi. Hello, how are you? How are you? Cool, yeah. So yeah, guys. So today I'm gonna talk about prepositions. Okay, I don't know if you saw the reminder. I posted a few things on Instagram. That was pretty cool. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to say who I am. My name is Fabi, and I help people get the 7, the writing part of the IELTS test. I live in Brisbane, Australia, and I teach English at English colleges here, universities too. And I like to help people get the 7 in the writing part of the IELTS test. Okay. So if you have any questions, okay, guys, you can pop the questions in there. I'll probably get to the questions a little bit later. Okay, but if you want to say hi, go for it. I will probably see your messages. All right. Cool. Okay. So prepositions. Okay, if you are comfortable enough saying how you feel about prepositions, go ahead and type it there. How do you feel about prepositions? Okay, I must say that from my experience as a teacher, most people hate it, either because they forget them or because you get them wrong. Okay, so these are one of the most important reasons why people don't like them very much. Okay, and it was very nice because I don't know if you saw my stories today. I posted a few there, so like a few questions, and I have actually got my sister to. Oh, that's how. Okay, so I just got a thumbs down for prepositions. Hopefully, by the end of this today, you will feel better. All right. I'll give you lots of tricks, okay, guys? I'll tell you why we're doing this today and also give you lots of tricks, okay? So as I was saying, so my sister sent me a message and she was like, hey, I got the prepositions right. I'm like, yay, that's awesome. Okay, like, okay, cool. So yeah, guys, so prepositions can be tricky, okay? And people struggle with them. And I'm always on top of my students. Okay, remember this, remember that. That's not the right one, okay? So, and the funny thing is that I decided to talk about prepositions yesterday night. Okay, last night I said, oh, tomorrow I'm gonna talk about that, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk about that. And then I was thinking about what I was going to say, and that was that. And then this morning, I'm teaching an advanced class in the morning. And then in the morning, I was planning the lesson. Guess what was the first topic? Prepositions. I was like, oh my god, these guys are advanced and they're still studying prepositions, and there were some new expressions and they're all very happy to do it. Okay, so that was really nice, but some things were new to them and they're advanced. All right, so yeah, so we should always be working on it. So one thing I'd like you to bear in mind is that if you forget one, if you don't remember the right one, don't worry, because we are constantly learning. All right, guys. Before we actually start and I start talking about prepositions, let me just tell you why I decided to talk about prepositions today. About a month ago, a student of mine who had done the IELTS test 13 times, yes, you heard me well, 13 times, he finally got his 7 in writing. And I got a message from him when he said, Fabi, I finally got my writing. The 7 in writing. Oh, hey, Clever, how are you? So when he got the message saying, Fabi, I finally got the 7, okay, he actually said, the preposition list helped me. So I gave him some homework. So we were studying a lot of grammar while he was preparing to get his 7. And he actually, we did some prepositions together. So I gave him like some exercise. We talked about it. I told him the best way to do it. And he did it. And he got the 7. So he firmly believes that studying prepositions actually help him get the 7. So I was like, oh my God, I got to share this with people, right? I really, really have to share it with everybody, okay? I'm not saying that if you study prepositions, you're going to get the 7, but I think it's going to help you a lot. Okay, cool. So what are prepositions? Okay, so prepositions are those little words in English that we use with other words. So we have, let's say, in, on, at, with, those kind of words. So these are the prepositions, okay? And why are they so hard? Do you know why? Why are they so hard? To me, the main reason that makes it hard is the fact that there are no rules. So it's not like we say, oh, every time you see a word like this, you put on. Oh, every time you see a word like that, you put in. It's not really like that. And another thing that makes prepositions a little bit difficult to me is the fact that, to me, from my experience as a teacher, and to me too, because I learned English, right? The thing that makes it a little bit hard also is the fact that the preposition itself doesn't have a meaning, right? It doesn't have a meaning. Okay, so we look at prepositions, interested in, like what's the meaning of in? There isn't really a meaning, okay? If you think about it, maybe there is a meaning, but it's not something that you can like maybe translate in your own language, okay? But for example, when we think about prepositions of place, like on the table, that has a meaning, right? In the house, that has a meaning. But because it's like it's meaning place, like on time, okay, maybe on Saturday, on Sunday, maybe that has a bit of a meaning. And there's a rule, for example, when we talk about days of the week, we're gonna use on, right? So sometimes you have a meaning and a rule, okay? Another thing is, for example, if you're talking about months, we say in April, right? If you're gonna talk about the year, right? It's in 2022. But if you're going to talk about the same date, like today, today's the 9th of, not the 9th, sorry, the 8th of September. We say on, not in. So that has a rule, so maybe that's easier to remember, okay? But all the other ones, they don't. Most of the other ones, they don't, right? So what happens is, what happens is that when we think about that, we are working with collocations. So what are collocations? So collocations are words that go together in English. And one type of collocation is words and a preposition. It could be a noun and a preposition. It could be a verb and a preposition. Okay? So these ones are the tough ones. These are the ones that are hard to remember. Okay, these are the ones that you guys probably hate. Okay, I have so many people that come to me and say, no, Fabi, my English is not that bad. My problem is just the prepositions. That's my problem. I just don't know prepositions. I'm like, oh my God, okay. These people should be watching this. Okay, yeah. So that's it. Because again, collocations, there are no rules, okay? Sometimes there are, but they're not very common. All right, okay, so that's one of the reasons, okay? And that gets me to the way people usually study prepositions, okay? Which to me is not very effective. One thing that people do, they say, okay, so today I'm going to study all the words that go with the preposition at. So they have a list, lots of words and at. All these words go with at. And the person looks at it and starts reading, okay, and then tomorrow I'm going to study all the ones with on. And they go bang, 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 bang. On. Guys, okay? So if you do that, if you just focus, let's say, on the preposition at and all the words that go with it, that might not be a good idea. Because what you might be doing is just trying to memorize it. And sometimes when we memorize it, we might forget it. We don't really memorize it, right? And then we can't quite use it. Okay, so to me, the best way to learn the prepositions is to use it. Then you say, but Fabi, if I don't know, how am I going to use it? I'll tell you. I'll tell you how to do it. Don't worry. Okay? So guys, the thing is, all right, so I'm not a big fan of lists. Okay? I'm not a big fan of list of vocabulary, a list of prepositions, list of phrasal verbs. I'm not a big fan of that. Okay? But there is a way to use lists. Okay? So let's say you already have a list with all the prepositions, words that go with on, words that go with of, all the things. Okay, guys? So if you have this list, that's okay. All right? But there's something we can do. Okay? All right. Tamiris, do you have a question, Tamiris? If you have a question, you can pop the question in there. All right? Okay? So, so yeah, guys, so there is a way to actually use the list, okay? So what I usually do with my students is actually what I did with this guy who got the 7 in the writing after studying prepositions, is we ended up, so we looked at the list. So we actually had a list of, I think it was nouns that would go with. So we looked at the list, maybe there were 10 different words. And then these are words that are more academic, okay, guys? And these are words that would probably help him get the 7. And then we looked at that list. And then I said to him, okay, look at this list. How many words do you know from the list? And he's like, oh, I know all the words, okay? And then I said to him, which words you don't use often? He's like, oh, 5 of them. And I was like, okay, 5 of them, all right. So again, so these are the ones you have to practice. It's like, oh, really? I said, yeah, because you probably remember that the other ones, the ones you use often, you know they go with. But what about the other 5? It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then I helped him practice those ones. And we did a little bit of that. And I think that it was a list with nouns that go with certain prepositions and then verbs that go with certain prepositions. But we didn't stay there doing, okay, which one is it? Blah, 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 do this, do that. You know, like, oh, I'm disappointed in someone. And then we did like a work with. We didn't do that. We actually analyzed it first. And he made the choices, not me. Okay, guys, so that's another thing that we have to start thinking about. You make your choices. So when you are studying, okay, for anything, especially grammar, and vocabulary, you make your own choices. So I didn't say to him, oh, hey, you have to know this one and that one. No, I want him to know all of it. And he wants to know all of it too. But we try to focus on the things that you don't use very often. And he probably knew that that certain word was with, but he probably don't use it very often. So he's like, okay, so I don't know, so I'm not going to use it. And he's not going to get a 7. Okay, so that's definitely one thing that you can do. Okay, guys, so working with lists, completely fine, no problem at all, okay? But you should try to use the list well, okay? But then there's something that is even better than looking at a list. Do you know what that is, guys? Instead of getting a list from a book, a list from the internet, a list from your teacher, what is better than doing that? Better than getting a list that is ready, you should create your own list. That's my opinion. Okay, when you create your own list, you learn way more. Okay, but then you're like, Fabi, how do I create my own list? Well, if you are, okay, in your IELTS journey, okay, if you are on your IELTS journey, if you are studying to get the 7 on the IELTS test, especially in writing, you're probably doing things in English, okay? So what you can do is every time you're reading something in English, listening to something in English, write it down and create your own list of words that go with certain prepositions. Because I feel that if you see something new, okay, guys, so you look at something new and you see that something new, you go and you look at it like, okay, all right, so I didn't know this. Oh, this is new to me. I didn't know that this preposition would always go together with a certain word. And then you write it down. You're already using it. And then you go, oh, let me double check the meaning of the word. And you go, like, okay, now I know that this word goes with this preposition. And then I write up, and then I have the meaning. Let me write a sentence. Blah, blah, blah. You're totally practicing it. Okay? So that's what I think works the best. Okay? So you make your own list of words, okay, and prepositions and everything. Okay, this is by far the best way. And I do feel that the things you create are more meaningful. Okay, guys, and you remember more. So maybe something I choose for you to do might not be as useful as something that you choose to do yourself. Okay, sorry, I have a bit of a cough. Okay, guys, so I think that, so again, if you have a list, you can still use the list. Just choose the words that are meaningful, okay, in your opinion. But even better than a list, go ahead and just look at something, write it down, and then you're gonna have an amazing list. You can even share your list with me if you want, okay? Share some of your sentences. All right, that's something you can do. Okay, so one thing that I also thought was quite interesting is that even this morning, okay, guys, with my advanced group, they are advanced English, okay? They are like a 7 on the IELTS already, and they were struggling a little bit because there were new expressions. So imagine that. So even people who are really high level, they're struggling. So don't feel bad if you forget something, because we're learning every day, all the time. Okay, and I usually get confused with prepositions, and the reason I get confused is because sometimes there are 2 options and you're like, oh, is it on or in? Both are possible. Okay, fine. So that's that too. Okay, so maybe it's always good to go to Cambridge Dictionary, okay, or a good collocations dictionary, so you can always double check these things. All right, guys. Okay, yeah, so I thought it would be nice to share with you, just you, okay? So I decided to share with you some of the prepositions that we talked about. So the students this morning, they had some questions, and they had to write down the preposition that would go in that gap to complete, right? And then I was like, okay, so one of the questions was, are you compatible? Your sister. What's the preposition? Are you compatible? Your sister. What's the preposition? With. So are you compatible with your sister? That was one of the things we talked about this morning. Then his opinion differs. Oh my God. His opinion differs mine. So his opinion differs mine. What's the preposition? From. So his opinion differs from my opinion. All right. And I'm going to tell you a trick now. And this trick gets me in trouble in the classroom, but it's a great trick if you're learning prepositions, right? So I think that you should not, for example, learn just compatible. Okay, compatible goes with. Okay, with. Now, compatible with, compatible with, compatible with. Differs from, differs from, differs from. Always use together. When you're practicing, try to make it sound like it's always together. It's never separate. Okay? So you remember more. So for me, I can't say just compatible. I say compatible with. Okay? It's really hard for me not to say with. I don't even think about it. It just comes naturally. And that's where you guys should get to. Okay? For it to be very natural. And why does it get me in trouble in the classroom? Well, today we were talking about it, and even when I was helping the students, when I would say what would say like the sentence and what they had to know, right? So compatible with, I would say, because for me it doesn't make sense not to say the preposition. And they were like, with. I'm like, oh God, I gave you the answer. I do it all the time when it comes to preposition. Okay. All right, so clever. Yeah, clever. I think you're my TOEIC student, right? So clever said, I never forget our classes in this way. Saying the word plus the preposition. Yeah, it's so helpful, isn't it? It's so helpful, guys. That was ages ago, like 5 years ago that we did that. And he still remembers. That's perfect. Okay, yeah. So guys, so that's the main thing, okay, guys? So what I'm telling you here today seems so simple. Okay, guys, something so small, but it will make a huge difference, like a gigantic difference. Okay, totally helpful. I agree. Totally helpful. Yeah. So yeah, guys. So it makes a big difference. Okay. And you might feel that, okay, I'm doing this today. Okay. It seems so simple. But if you do it every day, every time you see something and you pay attention to the preposition, okay, and you just take some notes and try to remember together, you will always remember. Okay. And I get in trouble because I cannot say just the word. It always has to be the preposition. Okay. And then, well, pay attention just sometimes. More than one is possible. Yeah. That's why it's always good to go to a dictionary. Okay, guys, always good to go to a dictionary. Okay. And again, the best way, okay, is to learn it, not memorize it. And to me, what is the difference between learning and memorizing? You know that compatible goes with, okay, compatible with, okay, but do you know the meaning of compatible? Do you know when to use it, how to use it? Okay, so think about that too. So it's not only about you memorizing it, because if you memorize it, probably might not know the meaning, okay? So it's a great idea to really learn it, explore it. And again, guys, it's better if you do 2 or 3 and remember them tomorrow than if you do 10. And if you have to tell someone the prepositions you practiced yesterday, you can't remember them. Okay? That's why it's good to learn. And again, quality over quantity. It's better if you do 2 or 3 instead of actually doing 10 and you don't remember anything. Okay? So, main points from today. Lists are helpful. Okay, list of prepositions, they are helpful if you go to them and you choose things to practice. Don't go and try to memorize everything. You look at it and you choose things and you practice. But better than getting a list and choosing things to practice, in your day-to-day, look for them. Look for the prepositions. Find them, not all the prepositions, okay, guys? Usually prepositions that go with a word you don't know, or a preposition that would go with a certain word, and you're like, oh my God, I never knew that this preposition would go with this word. Okay, these ones, and take some notes and practice. Okay, so I said everything I had to say today. Do you have any questions? Let me go here. Lots of hellos. Hi. Lots of thank you. Few thumbs down and a few thumbs up. All right, totally help. Okay. Any questions, guys? Yeah, so we will be here. Okay, I'll be here next week again to share some of the things with you. So what I've been doing, I'm checking what my students are up to, okay, anything that I do with them and I think is really, really helpful. And I'll be here sharing with you guys. Is that okay? Yeah. Any questions? You have my email, fabi@fabienglish.com, or you can send me a message on Instagram here, okay? I'm still struggling with 4 and 2. Yeah, I know, Clever. Yeah, so 4 and 2, again, so 4 and 2 are the ones that sometimes they have a meaning and sometimes they don't really have a meaning. Okay, you're still learning. Yeah, we're all learning. We're all learning. We're all learning all the time. Yeah, same. Okay, yeah. So yeah, but with 4 and 2, and again, that's the thing. I wouldn't focus on 4 and 2. I would focus on what goes before, what goes with 2. Okay, but if you're actually thinking of the meaning, oh, this is for him, to him, I give it to him. Yeah, so I think that the main thing would be to think about what's the verb or what's the noun before. So that's how you make your choices, because sometimes it's going to be 4, sometimes it's going to be 2. But you're not the first one to ask me that question. That's a common one. Yeah. In Monday or on Monday? Yeah, that's another common one. On September, in September? In September. Okay, guys. maybe later today I'm gonna put some more quizzes there on my stories. It's good that you choose and you get the answer straight away, right? Okay, guys. So I'm gonna go. All right. And if you have any questions, just send me a message later. All right. And then we can talk about it. Okay. All right. See you. Bye.